Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank where I climb the online Series 7 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Today we're trying out a super interesting team with Carbink and Power Belt Tapu Fini. So I originally saw this team because Eduardo Cunha used it on stream, and it was originally created by a Japanese player who I've linked in the description below. And it's a really fun team. As you can see, it features Carbink with Patea Berry and Misty Explosion. Despite Misty Explosion being out for a couple of months now as a move, I haven't used any teams with it, so wanted to feature it, and I think it's just a really interesting Pokemon because you don't really see Carbink very often at all in VGC. The last time, I think I played against it once. I don't think it was on Road to Ranked, but the set I went up against was like a Iron Defense Body Press set from what I remember, and it just absolutely destroyed me. And so it's definitely an interesting Pokemon. It's rather bulky, and, you know, you might be wondering, like, why run Misty Explosion? How much damage does that even do? And, you know, if you think about common Trick Room teams, one of the struggles that they often have is that the Trick Room user, i.e. something like Dusclops, for example, or Porygon 2, is really bulky, but doesn't do that much damage. With Misty Explosion Carbink, you can essentially set up Trick Room and then get a free switch into your Glastrier by using Misty Explosion on the second turn. And as we've seen, Glastrier is really one of the strongest Pokemon in the format and can just completely sweep through teams. You also have some fun Pokemon outside of the Carbink Trick Room mode, though. Of course, as you see, there's the Assault Vest Landorus and the Wise Glasses Celesteela, so two strong options there. And the Tapu Fini set is really interesting with dual screens and Nature's Madness rather than something like Moonblast. So I think a lot of cool components here. You could also even lead something like Landorus Carbink, for example. U-turn out, go into Fini, set up Trick Room, Misty Explosion, then get the free switch into Glastrier. Bunch of combos you can go with here. I think the last interesting thing to point out here is that there is Meteor Beam on two different Pokemon, both the Carbink and the Celesteela. Of course, it's not really a great offensive option to go for if you're not Dynamax, because it does take a turn to charge and there's no power up here, but it ends up being a really, really fun option should you Dynamax either Pokemon. And I think like Celesteela, Landorus, Glastrier are all really strong max options in this matchup. So, or with this team, I should say. So, I'm excited to try it out. Thank you to the creator. Once again, check him out, linked on Twitter in the description below. And thank you to you guys, as always, for watching. If you enjoy, please share support by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. Question of the day, you know, with the DLCs introducing a bunch of the brand new terrain-based moves like Grassy Glide and Misty Explosion, I'm curious if you could create a new terrain-based move. What would it be? What effects would it have? Let me know in the comment section below. I think the ones they created overall were really interesting, honestly. Glide is, like, particularly strong, obviously, on Rillaboom. I would say actually most of the moves are really strong, like the one or two Pokemon that often induce terrain, and then otherwise they're not really commonly seen, which may have been what like the designers were going for when they created those moves. But yeah. I did not think we would run into this for our first game. Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay. I don't know how we win this. I probably have to Dynamax the Celesteela. There's no way I get Trick Room up, right? Like, Weezing Regigigas just crushes me. Straight up. I can try to set up a Reflect with the Tapu Fini. And I guess I have Urshifu for close combat. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I have to play really defensively and basically bait out attacks into my position. So, for example, I can set up a Reflect with Tapu Fini, close combat, or just hard switch the Urshifu out turn 1 to eat up a Max Strike, go into Celesteela. I want to bring Carbink, but I can't fit it in. Misty Explosion is actually kind of heat here. I need a Celesteela for the Max Strike switch in, that's for sure. You know what? Maybe I just bring Carbink as the 4th. Let's just have it. Let's just try it out. Why not? The problem here is that I don't really have a great Dynamax option because I'm not bringing the Glastrier, which probably was the correct Pokemon to bring. Actually, well, I don't have a Lumberry on that, so I was thinking of just hard leading Glastrier, but then you can just Will-O-Wisp me. I think it should be Weezing Gigas here. Yeah, it's just too good of a lead to not bring. Okay. So basically what I'm doing with this lead is Fini should not be a major threat to my opponent in this position, right? So they shouldn't perceive it as such a big threat. So what I can do is get a Reflect up, and if I'm my opponent, I'm Max Striking Sludge Bombing Urshifu. So get the Reflect up, switch into Steela, and then go from there. Honestly, we could end up Dynamaxing Carbink in this game. Because what is my opponent going to have in the back? Typically Urshifu plus Aleki. Max Carbink actually does really well into, like, my opponent's entire team. If we can survive the opening turns. Especially because, like, I'm bringing Celesteela as a defensive switch in here. That would be hilarious. It's tough to imagine many scenarios in which you max Carbink, but, like, I can actually see it happening in this game. Now, of course, my opponent could have just gone Max Strike onto Tapu Fini. Actually, if they wanted to play it safe, like, I guess you could just Strike or Lightning Fini, Will-O-Wisp into Steela. Or I guess the Urshifu slot. Yeah, actually, that's a really safe play. But the problem with that is if you miss Will-O-Wisp and then it's banded close combat into the Gigas, you're just in a ton of trouble. So, I'm hoping my opponent respects the Urshifu here and shows it the respected commands. Okay, so there's Strike. Good. Okay, good. That's still so much damage. They did over 50%. Okay, I think we're maxing Carbink in this game. I think we are maxing Carbink. There's the Life Orb chip. He goes for a Taunt onto Fini. It's kind of annoying, honestly, because had I just gone for close combat there, Gigas would have taken a ton of damage right from the get-go. I can't protect here, so you should max strike the Fini, honestly. Oh, but I don't even have terrain up for the Carbink, which is kind of sad, right? Yeah. I think I'm going to Madness into Weezing here. And Flash Cannon Weezing. Nice taunt. They saw the screens coming. So had I just stayed in with Urshifu and gotten a close combat off against Regigigas, things would have been pretty solid turn 1, I would think. Or even just a Wicked Blow Madness into Weezing, because then it is pretty low. Yeah, so it's going to be Strike here onto Fini. Yeah, okay. But I didn't get my screens up, which was the unfortunate. I mean, I think this team just gets crushed by Weezing plus Gigas. Like, there's no safe combo to go with here at all. Can't lead Landers. That just gets absolutely demolished. Probably another taunt here. Yeah, that's fine. Honestly, I'm thinking go Carbink and Dynamax it. That's actually really good damage from Flash Cannon. Wow, Wise Glasses is kind of nice. I mean, it may have been the move to Max Steela then, but I don't know. The fact that we have a scenario in which we can Dynamax Carbink sounds kind of fun to me. Okay, I'm down to bring it out and honestly just Dynamax it here, because I think my opponent's going to want to taunt it. And then KO the Celesteela here. So, Dynamax this thing. See, my only hesitance in going for a Max Rockfall... Oh no, I'll speed Regigigas next turn anyway. Yeah, so I'll double up onto Weezing here. I mean, this is doable. This is still doable despite not getting screens up. Comes out of what my opponent has in the back. We know it's Magnet-Eleki, Banded Urshifu. So the Banded Urshifu is kind of a big deal because it means that you can only target one of my 2 slots, and I have my Focus Sash. And if I knock out the Weezing here, what would I rather hope for? Cinderace in the back wouldn't actually be that scary, I suppose. I just, if we had Glastrier, would this have been better? Not necessarily, because it just gets burnt. I guess if I had Glastrier, I could bring in Glastrier and Max Guard the Carbink. Sorry, Max Guard the Glastrier. Yeah, they're going to go for Lightning here onto Celesteela, which is fine. I'm always sacrificing Celesteela there, and the reality is that now I have Dynamax Carbink in Sandstorm. But I guess Electric Terrain is up, so if you have the... I mean, I had to Rockfall here, though, right? Because I have to KO the Weezing. Meteor Beam? Could that have been more interesting? Maybe. Okay. Either way, we get Max Rockfall off. I hope this knocks out with the sand damage. If not, I'll be very sad. Okay, good. So now Regigigas slow started, right? And it can't protect in front of this Urshifu either. So I have a guaranteed close combat into that slot. And having the Focus Sash here is actually really essential as well. In fact, actually, Regigigas is absolutely useless for my opponent right now. So, effectively, I want to target around that. The only downside is here, my Urshifu will likely faint after this turn. So, Carbink will probably be playing a 2v1 in this matchup. Let's see. If you have Magnet-Eleki in the back, I would just Wicked Blow into the Eleki, right? See, the thing is, I could protect the Urshifu and then Max Rockfall or Starfall, whatever's coming in. That's interesting as well. That's definitely a possibility. But I'd rather... Okay, the other problem, I guess, here is that I am admin Urshifu as opposed to Jolly, so it's not even a speed tie against the opposing Urshifu. I just know I'm going to be second. But I think that's fine, because I think with banded Urshifu, you'd have to target the Carbink, which then makes me wonder, should I max guard? Okay, they bring out a Lecky, which is fine. If you're bringing out a Lecky, I feel like it's likely Urshifu's the last one, and that would be the right order to, you know, swap the Pokemon in. Here's the thing, if I can actually call, like, protect the right Pokemon here, I think I might just win. But do I even need to call it correctly? Can I just safely double target here? If I'm my opponent, I'm probably targeting... Oh, actually, I can't max guard here, right? So you should double up on Carbink. Max HP, max special attack. Changing terrain doesn't really do anything for us. Oh, actually it does against the Alecki, right? Yeah. But I think we might just one-shot Alecki with Rockfall. Alright, I'm a Rockfall. Close combat. Let's see what they go for. They actually Electro Web. I'm down for that, because it means Urshifu survives the turn. And if your last one is Urshifu, we win the game if Alecki faints here. This is wild. This is a fun game. This is fun. Okay, so we get rid of Regigigas, which is good. Base 140, max Rockfall. Does not KO Alecki, unfortunately. But if you're my opponent, what do you do now? I think Urshifu is going to be their last one, right? So I can just Sucker Punch Alecki, Starfall, Urshifu. Yeah. No, I don't see any reason not to go for that play. Starfall, which also changes terrain, which helps out against the Alecki. We know that's banded as well. I mean, it's likely the Alecki protects here, but I'm still just going to go for this, because there's no better play to go for. I can't... Well, I guess I could read into them protecting Alecki and then close combating my Carbink, and then close combat the opposing Urshifu. But I don't think we get one-shot by banded close combat anyway on Carbink, right? So if we don't, then this is really our safest option. Because it means Urshifu, yeah, can only target one of two slots right now. I had my opponent Thunderbolted last turn, this would have been tougher. And nice, they don't go for a Protect. Okay. So that's really promising. They'll still win if they one-shot Carbink with the close combat here, but they actually end up targeting Urshifu. Nice. I don't think you Dynamax with Carbink very often with this team, but this just so happened to be a matchup in which, like, it actually was our best Dynamax option. And we didn't even get, like, the Pateo Berry or the Misty Explosion off at any point, but I can't believe how good it was here. Nice. So, I mean, that's the thing against playing against Regigigas, right? Regigigas' strength is if it's able to pick up multiple knockouts, and one of those knockouts is, like, a Dynamax Pokemon. But in this game, we were effectively able to conserve our Dynamax Pokemon while also knocking out Weezing. Now, knocking out Weezing was actually a really big deal, because by KOing the Weezing, it meant that the Regigigas became slower, right? Because if Regigigas is just at its regular speed, it outspeeds the Urshifu, any double up from my opponent's team would just KO my Urshifu, and that's not good. But, you know, I was thinking about what they could even do against a late-game Carbink, and there actually weren't that many options. Now, that game was going to be tougher, I think, had they gone for Max Lightning, or sorry, Thunderbolt onto the Urshifu, because then it's a 2v1, and I think I'd probably lose because Max Rockfall does not KO the opposing Alecki. So then it begs the question, should I have gone for Wicked Blow to just try to one-shot the Regieleki in that position? That may have been the better play, honestly. But that was a really fun one, and obviously I had an advantage knowing my opponent's team there. This is a really cool team. Wow. Okay. We used Mr. Rhyme a while ago. Or sorry, yeah. Like, that was... Man, it's gotta be... Like, I don't even remember how many months it's been at this point. Okay, Carbink's actually kind of fire here, though. As is Glastrier. So the goal should be to just get Trick Room up. Screens plus Trick Room is effective. Now, they have Fake Out, right? And a Moltres. But we have Landorus with AV. Which is kind of cool here, because I can U-turn out as well. Steel is not bad. Like, I'm down for Landorus, Carbink, Fini. I guess... No, Urshifu's not that great here. Fini, Glastrier. Let's try that out. The Fake Out support's scary. It's obviously also an Ice type here. Swampert is, I guess, interesting. I didn't even really talk about that. But, like, Dynamax Glastrier here looks really solid if I can get it. Misty Explosion should actually do a sizable amount of damage to my opponent's team. So, hopefully we can use that as well. And honestly, I mean, maybe we do end up Dynamaxing Carbink again. Because if you actually look at my opponent's team, they have 5 Pokemon that don't fare very well against Rock type, right? Swampert's, like, the main problem there. In fact, maybe Swampert is the biggest threat on their team. And should I have Dynamax Celesteela? It didn't have much damage. Like, we don't have Airstream on it, so it doesn't feel like a super strong option. Okay. So... And sorry, I think I said Mr. Rhyme earlier, but I meant it's Galarian Mr. Mime, right? I think. Okay, so it's Incineroar plus Aleki, which I'm actually really happy to see because Landorus crushes this lead. Super hard. Like, honestly, turn 1, just protect DQ or protect U-turn. Both of those work. I don't even mind Earthquaking here. My opponent has to respect the option of me Dynamaxing the Carbink as well. Sorry, no, I was going to say Landorus, but I'm not going to do that. Like, I really like Earthquake Protect turn 1 and then U-turn Trick Room turn 2. The only problem is, I guess, if you Dynamax Aleki, that feels like a throw, because then Landorus just crushes you. Like, if anything, I'm expecting a pivot out into Moltres right now from my opponent's end, but this is a great lead for us. Did I have a better play? Max Quaking is really risky because of the potential Moltres switch in. I like protecting the Carbink here. It just prevents a Fake Out turn 1. What does Aleki go for, though? Screens, maybe? Either way, I mean, no Dynamax, which means, you know, Sturdy is conserved. Okay, they just Volt Switch. Cool. That works for me. So it's probably Parting Shot from the Incineroar then, which is a nice play. Like, they expected me to play a little bit defensively here. But when you just knock out Aleki, is that a crit? No, not even. Aleki's just not very bulky. Ooh! Will-O-Wisp Incineroar. Okay. That's pretty cool. I'll take that trade-off, though, because Landorus is not my main Dynamax threat in this game, right? It's, Glastrier. So I think I want to U-turn out here this next turn. Set up Trick Room. Get Fini in. That feels pretty good. They probably have Moltres in the back, but, like... Actually, who do you even... No, Swampert should be their Pokemon. They're switching here. Yeah. Ooh, that's interesting, because if you have Swampert out here, you can double up onto Carbink for a KO. I could also switch Carbink out here, though, right? Into Fini. It's just like... here's the other thing. If I want to guarantee Trick Room up, honestly, what I could do right now is just Max Quake into Incineroar, get a KO onto that, and then set up Trick Room. It guarantees that I get Trick Room up, honestly. Because otherwise, I can't guarantee Trick Room going up. And getting Trick Room up here feels kind of solid. Unless Burnt Max Quake doesn't knock out Instant from this range, but I'd be surprised if it didn't. Okay, I'm actually going to go for this. Yeah, I'm going to Max Quake, Trick Room. Because I just really want Trick Room to go up. And I think here you Dynamax the Swampert. This may have been a mistake, but I don't know. It's like... I guess I also shouldn't say guarantees that I get Trick Room up, because there is a small chance Instant survives this now that I'm burnt and intimidated. Actually, I don't even know if it's a small chance. I feel like... But it took so much from that Earthquake. I don't know. Perhaps this was a little risky. Ooh, they don't max the Swampert either. Okay. It's not ideal. Please KO. Okay, good. And that's also nice because it gives Carbink a special defense boost if this is special Swampert. But them not maxing is scary. I was hoping to, you know, start burning some max turns here immediately. Ooh, Liquidation. Okay. So they're physical. Defense drop, but that's fine. Life Orb Swampert. Okay. So it activates Patea Berry. And the question, though, is do I really switch out Landorus this next turn? Because what I want to do is just bring in Fini and Explode. It comes down to what my opponent's last one is. What do they have? I think Moltres feels like the most likely, but that's honestly a really good Pokemon for us to see because we have a really good matchup into it. Because if it is Moltres... Oh, it's Mr. Mime. Wow. Okay, not really what I was expecting. Is that a problem? I don't want to waste my Dynamax here is the thing. Not max Steel Spike. Down for a Rock Fall. Max Rock Fall and just Protect here could work. I could switch Landers to conserve Intimidate, though. Like, the other play I'm considering is going to Fini here and just Misty Explosion. They might just fake out the Carbink, though. I feel like they should. I don't know. If I'm my opponent, what am I doing? Maybe doubling up onto Carbink? Okay, so we get Terrain up. I mean, if Mime doesn't fake out here and I actually get the Explosion off, it's huge. I just took a lot of damage. It does allow me to conserve that Intimidate, though. They made a good decision to not Dynamax last time. I'm impressed by the decision for, like, that decision. But I suppose they realized if they're targeting Carbink, they didn't really need, because of Sturdy anyway. Yeah, so Swampert maxes this turn. And conserving their max by 1 turn really might end up saving them. So, good foresight. Really, really good foresight. Okay. Let's see if they went for Fake Out. Nice! We get the Misty Explosion off. Okay, that's huge, actually. I don't know if Fini can survive this turn, though, but we get Misty Explosion, which is sick. Should be a sizable amount of damage here. Really good damage on a Mr. Mime. Okay, that's good. They max Quake. That's fine, because I'm mainly relying on physical attacks at this point. Oh, that one-shot us. That's kind of scary. I guess I shouldn't be so surprised that one-shot us. Okay, now I have Landorus and Glastrier. Freeze Dry, okay. So, we got the Misty Explosion off. It's a shame that we didn't KO Mr. Mime, because I think if that was a KO, that would probably be GG. Because 2 attacks should knock out the Swampert, but I do at least get the Intimidate off here, which is good. And we still have a bunch of turns of Trick Room to work with as well, which is good. And I can also get a KO onto Mr. Mime to give myself an attack boost, which is also good. So all good things. Those are all good things. 3 turns of Trick Room to work with, which is also in our favor here. I don't want to attack myself at all, so I don't want to Earthquake here. Maybe it's actually fine Earthquaking. It's just, I mean, it is a little bit of chip. Future Mr. Mime. Here's the thing, I really don't want to lower my stats, so I think I have to rely on hitting a high horsepower against Mr. Mime, which doesn't feel amazing, but I think we just go for it. Okay, they Ice Shard. That shouldn't KO us though, right? No, not even close. Nice. Okay. High horsepower connects, which is huge. Yeah, the reason why that's huge is because now you have an attack boost going into the next turn. And they shouldn't be able to one-shot the Glastrier, given that I was able to intimidate them. And Glastrier's defense is pretty solid to begin with. Now the question I have is, does Life Orb close combat at +1 attack KO Swampert? Oh, that barely does anything. Okay, nice. Plus I have Earthquake too, right? So that actually works in my favor, because like this damage is actually going to slowly add up now. Okay, he's just under half. I don't think close combat one-shots, but I don't think I need it to. Well, there's 2 turns of Trick Room left. I like EQing here. How much more does Ice Cold Crash do with same type attack bonus? Just a little bit more. I don't know if the accuracy trade-off is worth it here. But if I close combat and they survive and then they Geyser Landorus, I lose, right? Because I'm leaning towards Earthquake and close combat right now into Swampert. I could also protect Glastrier. Wait, isn't that just the play? Yeah, stall out their last turn of Dynamax. Oh, but then they get well, no. I think you target Landorus here. I don't know. Geyser. Okay, they went into Glastrier. Nice. 108 down to 76. Is that nice, actually? They're still... they have to protect this next turn, right? Because close combat will KO them otherwise. I don't actually know if that was the play. Because now they might be able to one-shot Glastrier outside of Trick Room. It may have been better just to have gone for close combat that turn. Like, I wanted to stall the Dynamax, but I don't know if that was actually the brightest decision at the end of the day. I am just going to Earthquake here. Let's see, there's still one turn to Trick Room, yeah? Yes. Okay, so it's just Earthquake and close combat here. Now I don't have to risk missing. I just wanted to stall out their Dynamax. Yeah, they protect. Oh, wait. I may have messed up by Earthquaking that turn then. Because I just did a little bit of damage to Glastrier, which means now Waterfall might KO. Oh, I should have thought about that. But I wanted to hedge for... No, what am I hedging for there? It doesn't hedge for anything. Because close combat would win the game there outright. So that was not a good play on my end. Actually, I think we still win this, though, because Earthquake doesn't KO myself here, and Swampert has to target Glastrier. And I'm pretty sure 2 Earthquakes plus Life Orb, and the second Earthquake would become single target, should win this game for me. So unless I crit my own Glastrier here, we should be good. That was dangerously close, but yeah. They're going to go Liquidation. Nah, into Glastrier. Okay, good. And now EQ just wins. Unless they get, like, Actually, does Life Orb just take them out here? I think they're going to survive with, like, 1 HP. Yeah. But we have, like, so much health. I guess, does Swampert have Aqua Jet now? I think Rain should be expiring soon. Is there one more turn? I mean, if it has Aqua Jet here, it would actually win. I shouldn't have EQ'd myself last turn. Sorry, the turn that... Okay, they just go for Protect. That's fine. Yeah, I think we should be good here. These are really crazy games. Really cool teams, too. Like, we're using Carbink. We went up against the last team we just featured. Yeah, now my opponent's Wing Conch just get like 1 billion protects. Cool. Conserving Landers was actually the play here to get that second Intimidate off. But I thought my opponents, yeah, like I think a lot of people would be baited into Dynamaxing immediately with that Swampert. And the fact they conserved an extra turn was actually really, really smart. But yeah, cycling Landers for another Intimidate was really valuable for us here in the end. And I think we had a huge lead advantage here, right? Like, I think if Swampert plus, like, Incin is the lead for my opponent, this is drastically more difficult. Although I suppose I'd get an Intimidate off against the Swampert anyway, and it was physical Swampert. But that was a really cool team. You know, we used Flip Turn Swampert earlier, and we can actually check the team, which I'm excited to see. So it's Magneteleki, Goggles, Incin, yeah, with that Will-O-Wisp. Okay. Eevee like Clefairy, not much of a surprise there. Weakness Policy Moltres with Sucker Punch, that's pretty cool. Life Orb Swampert here, Liquidation Earthquake, Protect Ice Punch. Yeah, I'm always not sure if Swampert's physical or special, and the reality is that it could be both. And then Mr. Mime. Yeah, Galarian Mr. Mime. Ooh, with their own Trick Room. Could they have reversed my Trick Room then? Right? Because the turn I set it and they brought Mr. Mime out, they went Freeze Dry onto my Lander slot. Had they reversed Trick Room, would we have lost? It would have been tougher. I think we could have still pulled it out, though. But yeah, it definitely would have been a little bit tougher. Because then Glastrier doesn't not get the free KO onto a Mr. Mime immediately. So that could have played out a little bit differently. But wow, these were 2 really crazy games. And Carbink actually was huge for us in back-to-back matches. So I'm happy about that. Okay, ideally we get Trick Room up. Because if we get Trick Room up, Glastrier should just demolish my opponent. But I don't think it's really that easy to get Trick Room up. And here's why. They have Whimsicott, which can taunt. Incin, which can taunt. Incin, which can fake out. And a lot of offense from that end. A lot of offense, including Thundurus plus Urshifu, which doesn't feel very good to go up against. I could consider just leading Glastrier outright and Dynamaxing it, because here's the thing, if I lead Glastrier, my opponent has, like, it commands a lot of respect immediately. This looks tough, though, because, like, I think typically you want Landers or Celesteela in the matchups in which, like, you can't guarantee Trick Room going up. My opponent has such good Trick Room denial here, but the thing is they also have Thundurus. Okay, and then we think about this. If they want to deny Trick Room and beat Celesteela Landers, what would you lead? I guess Whimsicott Rotom would be your best bet. So I'm actually thinking of Dynamax Glastrier to just KO Whimsicott immediately and then try to get Carbink in safely. I just really don't like leading Landers in case they lead with the Thundurus. So I think I'm going to go Glastrier, Urshifu, Carbink, and Fini in the back. This is not a great Celesteela matchup, given that there's dual electric types on my... and dual fire, actually. Like, Celesteela is normally good if your opponent only has like one Pokemon that hits it for super effective damage, but here my opponent has 4. That's not ideal for us. But either way, I'm happy with the outcome of today's episode. Like, we had 2 really good games with this team, and like the first matchup I thought was really, really hard to win too. So I'm more than pleased with the results of this one. Thundurus and Cinderace. That's a really smart lead, because effectively you're saying, hey, your only way of stopping my Cinderace is an Intimidate, and what beats Intimidate? Landorus. Sorry, Thundurus. What do I even do against this? Besides crying. My opponent has to respect Dynamax Thundurus here, right? So, like, I think G-Max Cinderace just targeting it makes a lot of sense. But maybe I just play super, super aggressively here, because I already know this is not a good matchup for us, right? Who do you max here? I would max Cinderace. You have Superpower on that Thundurus. So you could double up on Glastrier, Superpower, and G-Max. So I'm going to go into Fini here, I think. And, we could blow into Cinderace. Actually, if you're my opponent, you could just Dynamax Thundurus and max Knuckle. Like, double up on a Glastrier and max Knuckle and Fire-type attack. And this is what I was saying. Maybe I had to play aggressively here, because I could see my opponent just doubling up onto the Urshifu, and if that happens, I feel like I just lose the game. Like, I don't even know what to do to come back from that. I guess it would be to try to... bounce with the Cinderace. I actually don't mind that. I'm, like, happy to see that more than anything. That is definitely an interesting play. That's really cool, actually. I see what my opponent was going for there, right? Because if I Dynamax Glastrier, like, boom. It's got to be a double bounce into Urshifu, though, right? So, like, I kind of want to just Nature's Madness here. Or I could set up a Reflect. This is a free Reflect this turn. But if I Nature's Madness, it puts either Pokemon in Sucker Punch KO range, right? And Cinderace is by far the bigger threat to Glastrier, so... I don't know. Reflecting is actually not bad here, though, I feel like. Yeah. I'm going to Reflect here, because I don't know if I can even get it off at any other point in the game. And Detect. Double Bounce. I could also, like... See, the thing here is, Bounce is not exactly... Bounce and Fly's accuracy isn't amazing, right? Yeah, I think it's a double up on Hershey. That was really cool. That was really cool. Because it was basically like... It would waste a turn of my Dynamax had I stayed in. Okay, we get Reflect up, which is good. Okay, so this is maybe a little bit more doable now. I want to divert my attention ideally onto Cinderace, I think, because Thundurus does not scare the Carbink I have in the back as much, so I like the idea of Nature's Madness. Oh, actually, I should split the damage here, right? Because Nature's Madness is only going to chip away, so, like, yeah, I'll target Thundurus here and Wicked Blow into Cinderace. Honestly, Fini's job is already done in this game. I got the Terrain up, and I got the Reflect up. I don't really need it for much more at this point. I think it's likely my opponent Dynamaxes doubles up onto the Urshifu. But I need them to commit a Dynamax, because I still don't even know who's maxing right now, nor do I know the items on either of these. One of them is going to be Life Orb, I'm sure. The other one is likely... Well, if Thundurus isn't Life Orb, AV and Lum are the likely items, and if Cinderace isn't Life Orb, you could be White Herb, Expert Belt. Okay, they go for Iron Head, which makes me think it's Iron Head Superpower. They target Fini. Okay. There's the Life Orb. It's on Cinderace. I'm really... And the U-turn. I feel like my opponent is just, like, giving me free damage more than anything. I'm happy about that. But I'm a little surprised, to be honest, as well. Because I feel like they could have just pushed the Temple with a max immediately. But I can also understand what they're doing here, but because by not maxing, you have, like, really, really strong hyper offense in the late game. But I'll take this. I'll definitely take this. Especially because we just knock out Cinderace. Yeah, I feel like that puts us in a really good spot. Because I just got rid of the biggest threat to my Glastrier out of the way. So I can see what my opponent's going for here to, like, conserve their Dynamax. But, like, Glastrier demolishes Whimsicott and Thundurus at this point already. And we have Reflect up. And I still can Sucker Punch before fainting. And Rotom's their last one. Okay. Well, Rotom is actually probably one of the bigger threats to my team. So, yeah. Actually, yeah, Glastrier can't hit it. Actually, Rotom kind of 1v6s this matchup, right? Like, I don't have any good answer against Rotom other than, I guess, Urshifu. But if you're my opponent here, what do? You're kind of forced to Tailwind. I want to Light Screen and Wicked Blow into the Rotom because I want to punish. Actually, this might be a Dynamax Carbink game. Okay, they just Gleam. Was that my best play then? Should I have just sacrificed the way I did? They nasty plotting? Yeah. That's not good. Yeah, I could have sacrificed. I could have protected Urshifu there. That was a good play. Okay, I see what they were going for. They didn't Dynamax at any point because they knew how good Dynamax Rotom was, which is actually really, really smart. I have Carbink, which I can bring out and bait a Taunt. Man, do I really Dynamax Carbink here? Like, it honestly may legitimately be the play. I guess if you were my opponent, you could just Dazzling and Max Geyser into it. I have Light Screen up. I guess I go into Glastrier here and KO Whimsicott. I don't think I can beat Rotom. That's my problem here. Oh, they might also be faked here as Whimsicott. That would be a really big problem. But I think here I'm just going to go Nature's Madness, Dynamax, and Hailstorm into Whimsicott. Yeah. Okay, I see what they were going for. Really good conservation of Rotom. I just can't get Trick Room up safely. If they weren't Nasty Plot, I think this would favor us a lot, but they got a good free Nasty Plot off. However, because we do have Focus Sash on Carbink, there is a world in which we get the Trick Room up, and I think that's important to consider. But my damage against Rotom is really lacking right now, because Rotom's pretty good against Glastrier. Like, at best, I can Max Knuckle it. And I might get another attack boost, right, by KOing Whimsicott, but it's not looking that great right now. And because I think my opponent was really smart and recognized that their main win condition was just Dynamaxing Rotom, getting a Nasty Plot off, and then just sweeping my entire team with it. Because this team does not have many options for Rotom, right? Like, no Grass type, so no way to hit it for super effective damage. And then, like, the main carries, Landorus, Celesteela, and Glastrier, 2 of those get demolished by Rotom. In fact, Rotom's probably one of the best counters to it. Okay, it's going to be Helping Hand. So I could have Max Guarded Glastrier here. That was probably the play, because I think this is a 2-hit KO. Oh, it's not. It's not even close after we changed the weather. Okay. Wow, that light screen actually was huge for us then, I suppose. This is actually going to be really close. The thing is, now if you're my opponent, you can superpower Max Geyser into Glastrier, and that might be enough for a KO. I'd rather see Helping Hand than Fake Tears. Fake Tears would have been really scary here. I don't think I survive a super... Well, you're not Life Orb, Thundurus. And I guess there's a small chance you're not superpower, but I'd be very shocked if it weren't. Okay, the other thing to consider, I was going to say, was how many turns of terrain are left, but the answer is none, unfortunately. Would Max Quake have KO'd Whimsicott last turn? No way, right? Was it the play to go for still, though? Perhaps? I mean, here's the thing. I think if you're my opponent, what do you do? It's still looking tough, right? Because I don't have good damage output against the Rotom. I should survive a Max Geyser, but I don't know if I can... Oh, wait, I have Reflect up as well. That actually makes me think I survive a double up. But then what do I do? Another Madness here? I kind of have to switch this out, though, to get a Misty Explosion off, though, right? If I just stay in... I'm gonna time out here. Oh, no. I didn't know what to do this turn. I think the play was to switch. I think it was to switch. You should double up on Glastrier here. Okay, I ended up max guarding. That's actually not the worst scenario. They actually went for Fly. And Lightning? No, Geyser. Okay. Wait, yeah, that's actually pretty good, right? Because now your Thundurus definitely won't KO me this next turn. Oh, but Reflect wore off. Can a double up KO Fini? Like, I think my play here is to switch Fini out into... Here's why I'm scared. I have so little late game offense against Rotom. So I'm thinking of switching out into Carbink here. But the thing is, I'll get that... The hail will still be up. So I think Rotom just beats me. He's just that good against us. And I can't even Quake to boost my special defense here. But the other... What was the play I was going to make last turn? Just switching to Carbink so I had it out this turn. Yeah, that may have been better, because then I could switch Fini back out. Okay, we eat up the fly. That's fine. We're going to go for another Geyser. That's also fine. Yeah, it would have been better to actually make the switch last turn, but I guess I'm actually happy with this outcome. Actually, we win now, right? Because my opponent didn't pick up a KO at all. So now I can just Trick Room and Close Combat. Right? I guess then the question is, this Misty Explosion KO? I don't know. I don't know if it does. Oh, but I have Nature's Madness too. Do I KO my own Fini? I don't think so. I could also just protect Close Combat here, but if I protect Close Combat, my opponent can actually win if they just target Carbink, right? And the reason for that is because if you actually correctly target Carbink, then it's a 2v1, but then the Fini doesn't have any damage. If it was like Specs Fini with Moonblast, I would definitely attack. But it's not. So basically, Close Combat Trick Room here is saying, okay, you have to target the Glastrier this turn. If you don't, you just insta-lose. You still have Eternal Light Screen, which is kind of nice. But I get Trick Room up if you target Glastrier. It's just the safest option. Like, yeah, if I want to read into my opponent's soul and say you're going to target Carbink here, then of course... target Glastrier here, of course I could protect it, but it's not worth it here. It's definitely not worth it. Because I think we can win even if in the safest scenario. Okay! Or we just win outright. I guess they probably don't know what Carbink does. And that's the beauty of using a Pokemon like Carbink, the element of surprise, right? It's like not a common Trick Room setter, so some people just like have no idea what it does in general, and certainly don't know that it gets access to Trick Room. I mean, now we just insta-win the game. Wow. I did not think we'd win this one. Yeah, but the light screen was huge, so I'm really glad I set it up and was able to get it off. Close Combat should just win now, right? So we can Meteor Beam, Close Combat. There's no way... We're at +2 attack, right? Yeah, there's no way a +2 Close Combat doesn't knock out a 60% Rotom Wash. Especially a nasty plot set. But this is what I meant when I said this was scary, because, like, if this didn't KO, for example, I'd be stuck with the Misty... Sorry, not Misty Terrain. I mean, it is Misty Terrain Fini. But Nature's Madness Fini, which will never win you an endgame unless they're literally at 1 HP. And then a Carbink with Misty Explosion, and there's, like, Carbink doesn't even have a consistent damaging attack, right? So, yeah, I actually think we were in a pretty good position regardless of that endgame. My opponent went for Fly and Bounce a lot, and I think they didn't really get enough out of it, but I actually certainly respect their decision to go for all of those. Yeah, that timeout ended up working out pretty well there. What did I want to do there? I had two options. With Glastrier, I was either going to max Hailstorm Thundurus or max Guard. And it worked out that, we ended up max guarding there, because it meant that we didn't take any damage. It's been a while since the time, but that turn was just really tough, because I just didn't know whether I needed to switch Fini out or not. Because Carbink felt like the late game win condition. I just didn't think Glastrier would actually get so many turns in that end game, honestly. Like, I thought it should have fainted a lot sooner, but as soon as my opponent committed the Fly, it meant like Glastrier was going to guaranteed get the KO onto Thundurus. So, I think what my opponent was hoping for that turn, which makes a lot of sense, was me to just max Hailstorm into Thundurus. You dodge it, and then you max Geyser into a Hydro Pump the subsequent turn. Yeah, that makes the most sense. So, that timeout honestly may have worked in our favor there, and that's why having Protect as your first move often can be very, very valuable. But yeah, I mean, I didn't think we'd even ever get Trick Room up in that one. I thought that, like, the Rotom really, really crushed us in terms of matchup, because we didn't have great damage against it, but thank goodness we actually got Light Screen up, because if not, I think that game definitely would have been over. Glastrier not even taking 50% from a Helping Hand +1 Geyser was huge, because if that were over 50%, yeah, I don't know. I mean, my opponent could have still gone Superpower Geyser into Glastrier, to which then, that's why I was considering Max Guard switching out, but that turn was tricky. Either way, though, that was a crazy set of games. Like, I didn't think Carbink would be as solid as it was, and it was actually the MVP of... I mean, I guess what I called the MVP... In that first game, actually, it absolutely was. It's essential because it helps enable Glastrier, right? And the reality is that Life Orb Glastrier is just such a strong sweeper, and this is why this team works well, right? It's not like Carbink alone will carry you, but it does often allow for free setups into Trick Room. And in this game, actually, funnily enough, like, I never actually got, like, a, lead Fini, Carbink, Trick Room, Misty Explosion, and then get Glastrier in safely, so we had to get fancy with our positioning because of the matchups. but still were able to win them, so that felt pretty good. Anyway, thank you guys so much as always for watching. Thank you to the creator. Once again, check them out, linked in the description below, and I hope you guys enjoyed this one because it was a really fun set of games. So leave a like if you did, and I'll catch you all next time. All right, peace.